Hello and welcome to Am Writing Fantasy. My name is Jesper. This is then video number 4 in our series on plot structure. We've covered a lot of ground in the previous 3 videos, and if you've missed any of them, I've placed a link to them in the description field below. In the previous video, we looked at the importance of subplots and chapter structure. Today, we're going to focus on something that is crucial yet challenging for many authors, and that is how to wrap up your novel. No matter how thrilling the journey, if the destination disappoints, it can leave a bad taste in the reader's mouth. So, how do you create an ending that leaves our readers satisfied, but also eager to pick up the next book in the series? We'll break this down using examples from a beloved fantasy novel, just like we've done in the other videos, The Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. Even though The Fellowship of the Ring is the first book in a trilogy and doesn't wrap up the entire storyline, obviously, it provides valuable lessons in how to conclude a segment of a larger story in a satisfying way. So buckle up as we dive into the art of wrapping up your novel. Let's get started. The ending of your book is more than just the final pages where you tie up loose ends. It's where the story's themes comes together, where character arcs reach their climax, and where readers find their emotional payoff. So let's first look at The Fellowship of the Ring and see how Tolkien accomplished this. Despite it being the first book in a series, The Fellowship of the Ring wraps up a significant subplot, Frodo's journey to Rivendell, and the decision about the ring's fate. That was the primary focus of this book. Throughout the book, we see Frodo struggle with the weight of the ring, face numerous challenges, and eventually succeed in bringing the ring to Rivendell. The theme of friendship, duty, and resilience, which permeates the novel, comes full circle here. There is a significant payoff for the readers as well. We see the characters that we've come to know and care about reaching a safe haven and making critical decisions about the future. It's a conclusion to this part of the story, yet it also sets up the premise for the next book, keeping readers eager to continue. However, creating such an effective ending involves several key elements, and I've listed those here on the screen for you. The first element is resolution. You want to bring closure to the main conflict of your story. In the context of The Fellowship of the Ring, the immediate conflict was getting the ring to Rivendell. That goal is accomplished by the end of the book, but remember, resolution doesn't mean all conflicts are resolved, especially in a series. The larger conflict, what to do with the ring and how to defeat Sauron, still looms ahead, paving the way for the next books. Next comes character development. So by the end of the book, your characters should have undergone significant growth. Looking at Frodo, he starts as an innocent hobby with little knowledge of the world outside the Shire. By the end, he has experienced danger, shown courage, and decided to undertake the enormous task of destroying the ring. This character development enhances the resolution, making it more meaningful. The third element is thematic resonance. The ending should resonate with the overarching themes of your book. In The Fellowship of the Ring, themes of friendship, duty, and the struggle against overwhelming odds are reinforced at the end. This resonance gives a sense of completeness to the narrative. The last element is setting up the sequel. If you're writing a series, the end of the book should hint at the journey ahead. Tolkien does this masterfully, leaving the Fellowship at a crossroad, both literally and metaphorically, setting the stage for the rest of the series. So with these elements in mind, let's dive a bit deeper into each one and see how we can apply them in our writing. Let's first delve into resolution, an aspect that I can't stress enough on. The resolution is the final stage of your story's plot structure, where the main conflicts are resolved. This part is crucial because it's the moment where all the tension built up throughout the story is released. It's the culmination of your characters' journeys and the answer to the question that your story has implicitly or explicitly posed. Let's consider the resolution in the Fellowship of the Ring. You might think, well, hang on, yes, but the conflict isn't resolved at all. They still have the ring and a whole lot of trouble ahead of them. And yes, you would be absolutely right in saying that. But remember, we are talking about resolution within the context of this single book, which is also part of a larger series. So the initial goal, the one that has driven the narrative within this book, was to bring the ring to Rivendell, like we talked about, and then decide what to do about this terrible, world-threatening artifact. And that goal, my friends, well, that has been achieved. The Fellowship brings the ring to Rivendell, holds a council, and decides on a course of action to destroy the ring in the fires of Mount Doom. So within the scope of the Fellowship of the Ring, the primary goal is resolved. But of course, that resolution is far from cheerful. The burden of the task ahead is monumental. The journey fraught with peril and success is anything but guaranteed. Yet, that's the beauty of a well-crafted resolution, particularly in a series. It satisfies the reader by achieving a goal set out at the start, but it also leaves enough room for anticipation, for wonder, for the desire to know what's next here. So the takeaway, well, craft your resolution with care. It needs to deliver on the promise of your story, tying up the threads of the narrative introduced in this specific book, while setting the stage for the struggles yet to come. Remember, satisfying, quote unquote, doesn't necessarily mean happy, but it does mean complete in the context of the narrative arc of your book. The next element we're going to discuss is character development. This is another significant aspect of your novel that should not be overlooked. Characters are the heart and soul of your story, and seeing them grow, change, and develop is one of the most rewarding aspects for readers. Now, let's return to our source of inspiration, the Fellowship of the Ring. Tolkien does an incredible job with character development across the whole Lord of the Rings trilogy, but even within the first book, we see profound changes in several characters. Take Frodo, our primary protagonist, as an example. At the beginning of the story, he's an innocent hobbit, largely unaware of the broader world and its dangers. He enjoys like a quiet, comfortable life in the Shire, but as he is thrust into the epic saga of the Ring, he transforms. He becomes braver, wiser, more resolute, even as the burden of the ring begins to take its toll. Similarly, we see the development in Aragorn, who initially conceals his true identity and shies away from his destiny. But over the course of the book, he steps up to become the leader that the Fellowship needs, accepting his rightful role. And these are just two examples from a book filled with rich character development. But what's crucial here is how these developments are woven into the fabric of the plot. They aren't like sudden changes, but gradual evolutions shaped by the trials, tribulations, and experiences of each character. So in this case, what's the takeaway? Well, your characters should not be static. They should evolve and grow as the story progresses. This development should be organic and believable, influenced by the events of the plot and the experiences that they go through. It's not only about getting to the end of the quest, it's about how the journey changes those who undertake it. Thematic resonance is yet another pivotal element that gives your story depth and makes it more meaningful. Essentially, it refers to the themes in your story that can resonate with your readers on a deeper level. The great thing about themes is that they allow your story to transcend its specific setting and characters, reaching into universal human experiences and emotions. For example, let's turn again to The Fellowship of the Ring. One of the overarching themes in this book, and indeed the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, is the struggle between good and evil. But it's not just a simple black and white depiction. Tolkien delves into the complexities of this struggle, showing how even the most noble hearts can be tempted, and how even the smallest and seemingly insignificant characters can play a monumental role in the fight against evil. Another significant theme in the book is friendship and loyalty. We see the bonds between the members of the Fellowship, how they support each other through challenges, and how their loyalty to one another is a powerful force that carries them forward. This is a theme that many readers can resonate with, as we all value the importance of strong, supportive relationships in our lives. And yet another theme is the cost of power, and this is where the One Ring plays a huge role. It's a constant reminder of the lure of power, the dangers of unchecked ambitions, and the devastation that can result when power is used recklessly. So in your own writing, consider what themes you want to explore. What universal experiences or truth do you want to delve into? What can your characters, plot, and world reveal about these themes? Remember, themes add depth and richness to your story, making it more impactful and memorable. Finally, we should talk about setting up the sequel. This is particularly important if you're writing a series, as The Fellowship of the Ring is also the first book in a series. Now, it's crucial to strike a balance here. On one hand, you want to provide a satisfying resolution to the book's main plot, so your readers feel that they've had a complete experience. On the other hand, you also want to plant seeds for future books, so readers will be excited to continue with the series. In The Fellowship of the Ring, Tolkien achieves this balance excellently. The main goal of the Fellowship, to destroy the One Ring, remains unfulfilled by the end of the book. This is a clear setup for the sequels, as readers will want to know whether they succeed or not. Yet within the book itself, and I've mentioned this a few times, there are smaller goals and arcs that are fully resolved. For example, we could take the formation and eventual breakup of the Fellowship, Boromir's redemption, and Frodo's decision to go on alone are all arcs that are satisfying resolutions within the first book itself. Moreover, Tolkien introduces new plot threads towards the end of the book that makes the readers curious about what's next. The introduction of the character Gollum and his pursuit of the ring, for example, is a clear setup for future developments. So when you're writing your own story, think about how you can achieve this balance. What arcs can you resolve within the book, and what larger goals can be left for future books? What new plot threads can you introduce towards the end of the book to pique your readers' interest for the sequel? And remember, while it's important to set up the sequel, make sure you're still providing a satisfying resolution to the current book. Your readers should feel that they have had a fulfilling reading experience even as they look forward to the next installment. And that's a wrap, my fellow scribes. With this, we conclude our 4-part series on breaking down and understanding the structure of a brilliant fantasy novel like The Fellowship of the Ring. From setting the stage and crafting compelling characters to developing exciting subplots, creating engaging chapters, and leaving a memorable ending, we've delved deep into the aspects that can elevate your storytelling. Remember, all of these lessons can be applied to your own writing. Reflect on your characters, your world, and the story you want to tell, and don't be afraid to dig deep. Add layers to your plot, and always keep your reader hooked. I know we've covered a lot in these videos, but this is in fact just the tip of the iceberg. There's a lot more to writing a captivating novel, and that's where our resources can help. I've included a link in the description field to our website called amwritingfantasy.com, and here you will find everything from free podcasts, writing courses, book marketing advice, and a lot more. I really hope you enjoyed this series and found it helpful. And if you did, do let us know, because then maybe I'll make something similar in the future. So as we end this series, I urge you to take your pens, or it's probably keyboards, isn't it? And keep writing, keep dreaming, keep creating fantastic worlds and characters. Every great story began with a single word, and who knows, yours could be next. So until we meet again in another video or podcast, stay safe out there.